This might be one of the most difficult objects I ever tried modeling in Blender. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because I'm probably on the spectrum somewhere. But in any case, it's going to be a pretty good topology exercise, and we're doing this at the request of one of my Patreon supporters. So step number one, we got to hit Google Images and we got to get a couple reference images. First and foremost, we need a background picture like this one right here. Now, I had to do a little bit of digging to find this. So to save you a couple minutes, I'm going to give you the links for all the images I'm going to use down in the description. Anyway, we're going to take this image, we're going to save it to our computer, just save it to a new folder for this project. Then we're going to need another picture where we're going to be able to see this button from the side. It's a pretty shitty low resolution image, but it gives us a pretty good idea of the proportions of this object from a side view. So I'm also going to save this image, or better yet, I'm going to pull out PureRef and I'm going to copy paste this image into PureRef. And then maybe I also want to get a couple more pictures of this button from a couple of different angles just so I can get a better feeling for the shape. Now we're going to jump into Blender. We're going to go top view, give me Shift A image reference. You want to find and open up the picture which we downloaded first, and this is going to be like our little blueprint which we're just going to set underneath the scene. And now we can start making the first shape, and the first shape we're going to create is going to be this hexagon in the middle. So to do that, let's just start with a plane. So Shift A plane, we're going to scale it down so it fits the top and the bottom, adjust the position of these edges, scale it up a little bit. We need a loop cut here which we're going to scale up, and then once we got the right shape, we're going to take this edge from the middle, X delete edges so we have an open hole in there. Now just to help us grasp this shape a little bit better, we got to make sure we're looking at it from the right direction. If you look over here, this long shape over here is on the right side, just like in this reference image we have here. So we're going to look at it from this view instead of this view, because then it's inverted and it becomes a little bit confusing. So we're going to continue by taking this edge from over here. We're going to extrude that downwards like this to get all the way to the bottom. We're going to scale this up a little bit, add another loop cut here, which we're also going to scale up. And well, we have to do the same with all the other shapes. Right now we're just working with a flat surface, so this is still pretty easy. Now to make this part over here, we have to place our 3D cursor onto this edge, set the pivot point to 3D cursor, and then take this vertex, extrude it, and scale it up to around here somewhere. You can fill this with another face, and we're going to fill this with a little quad. Right now this is a concave quad, which means it has a vertex with an inner angle of 180 degrees or more. That's usually a problem, but we're gonna fix that in a moment. I don't want to do the same thing 2 times, so I'm gonna delete one side and add an array modifier from the generate menu, so I have everything copied to the other side. Fill this with a face, and now this is our basic surface from the top. Now this is where things get a little bit more complicated, because now we have to turn this into a 3D shape. So for example, if you look at this shape over here on the left side, we clearly have to take some of these edges and lower them down, or take these and lift them up. And then, well, we have to take this geometry from over here, lift that up, and then lower this down. But the problem is that if you do that manually, now you have this twisted face right here, and it's very difficult to adjust this manually in a way that you're not going to have a little bit of twisting on this edge back here. There's a couple of ways we can solve this type of problem. One is we can just try to very carefully adjust this manually. So when we have a twisted face, as we do right here, you can look at it from the side and it's clearly very twisted. What we do is we take 2 edges which are opposite to each other on that polygon, and we adjust their shape until those 2 edges are perfectly parallel. So in this case, we can take this edge and lower it down. That's going to change the angle of this edge. And if we place our view very carefully, we can reach a point where these 2 edges are almost parallel. It's never going to be completely perfect using this method, but we can get pretty damn close. We can get close enough. No one's really gonna see this because you don't have any artifacts. There's nothing visibly wrong with this surface right now. The other thing we can do if we want to be very precise is this. So when we have a twisted quad like we do right now, it's basically turned into 2 triangles, except there's no edge separating those 2 triangles. You can kind of see there's a seam right here, and if you look at it from the side, it looks like there's an edge here, but the edge is not actually there. So we can take these 2 vertices and create an edge there with J. And now we have to find the right z-axis position for this vertex to make these 2 triangles on the same plane. In this case, we have to lift this up a little bit, or well, we have to lift this entire edge in the back up a little bit so we keep this face here flat. And now the question is, how far up do we have to move it? Well, what we can do is take a vertex from this surface and move it along this plane until we reach a point where, when we look at it from top view, that vertex is going to be exactly above this vertex over here. So let me try to demonstrate to you what I'm talking about here. Here's the idea. If we place the 3D cursor onto any of the elements on this triangle, so any of the vertices, any of the edges, or the face in the middle, or we can click anywhere on this polygon, and the 3D cursor will be exactly on this plane, we can then take one of these vertices and scale it from the 3D cursor, and anywhere we scale it from, as long as the 3D cursor is on that surface, the vertex is going to stay on exactly the same plane. So if we look at it from the side, you're going to see that the triangle turns into a flat line. line, and the vertex is exactly on that edge. It is not off the surface. If we expand this as well, you're going to see that the vertex is still exactly on that surface. So in this case, we can leverage this. We can go to top view. We can try placing the 3D cursor over here onto this edge. Then we duplicate a vertex and we snap it to the 3D cursor right here. And then we place the 3D cursor onto this vertex, which is on the triangle. And with the 3D cursor as our pivot point, you want to scale this up until we meet this edge, because then we know we can just slide it along this edge to get exactly above this vertex up here. So right now this vertex has been moved on top of this edge, but it's still on the same plane as this triangle here. And if we go to top view, if we zoom in very carefully on the way onto this edge, we can place this vertex exactly on top of that edge. And then we can zoom out and take this vertex, which is also part of this plane over here. And then once again, we take this vertex, we scale it up very carefully until it is exactly on top of this vertex over here in the corner. And if you zoom all the way in, you can carefully adjust this. And now we know that this vertex is on this plane, which means if we create a triangle between this edge and this vertex, that triangle is going to be on the same plane as this one, which means there is no longer going to be any twisting. Which means if we place a 3D cursor over here, this is the z-axis height where we need to place this edge. So we can do that right now. We can merge our vertices by distance, make sure to correct your normals. And well, we want to dissolve this edge, and there we go. That gives us a pretty perfectly flat face here. Now here's the other pretty difficult part which we have to keep in mind. Notice how on this object here, the lower section, which in our case is this section over here, is not supposed to be connected to this edge at the bottom, or that would be this edge over here. It's like it's shifted up a little bit. So if we take a look at our example here, it's like we tear this and then we sort of move this up this way, and then we connect that all together. So how are we going to do that? Well, here's a 271 IQ trick for you. So we're going to take these two faces, we're going to separate them by selection, and take this vertex over here. You're going to place the 3D cursor right there, and in object mode, go to object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. That changes the way our mirror modifier behaves. So now it's mirrored over the origin point. So let's just get rid of the mirror modifier. And now I want to slide this object along this edge over here on the side. So to do that, I'm going to place my 3D cursor onto this corner at the top on the other side of this edge. And then if I take this object and I scale it, it's going to scale towards the 3D cursor, and of course the origin point, or this vertex over here where the origin is located, is going to move straight towards the 3D cursor, which is straight on the other side of this edge, which means it's going to slide along this edge. Now the other problem is we don't want to scale this down, we just want to move it in that direction, and there's a tool for that too. I bet you didn't know this shit. So you can go up here to options in object mode, you can check locations, and now when you transform something, it's going to affect only locations. It's not going to affect the scale or nothing like that. So when we scale this, we can scale it to 0, but the size is going to stay the same. It's only the location is going to be affected by the scaling, right? So now we just want to scale this down a little bit to somewhere around here maybe. Yeah, that's going to make our shape a little bit imperfect if we look at it from top view, so you don't want to push it too far, but something like this will probably do. And now we can join these two objects back together in object mode, and then we just have to figure out a way to wire this correctly. So now here's what we can do. We need a vertex right over here so we can connect this vertex to this edge. In other words, we need a vertex on this edge to connect with this one right here. So how do we do that? Well, there's a tool for that too. You go up here, you check on this auto merge vertices thing, you open up the options. This is in edit mode, mind you, and you're going to check auto merge and split edges and faces. And now if we take this vertex, you press G to move. You don't move it, you just click to confirm the movement. It's going to create a new vertex on this edge. It's going to merge into this edge back here. So notice how this is now split into two edges. It's a pretty useful tool for cutting through objects. You can create all sorts of shapes which will otherwise be very difficult to create. And then another thing is we want to be able to extrude this downwards, and then well, we're going to need a vertex right over here so we can fuse this together as well. And there's other ways you can do this very precisely, but the easiest way is to just take this edge over here, and with this auto merge vertices thing still active, you're going to extrude this down very carefully along the z-axis until you get very close to the edge at the bottom, and then you just click right there and it's going to create a new vertex at the bottom, which is going to keep things pretty clean. And you're going to have to do a little bit of cleanup. So in this case, we got to get rid of this vertex on the inside. Well, we got to take this one and slide it this way, and then this face is still on the inside, so we can just delete that face and fill this area over here with a new face consisting of these edges. And I know we got engons right now, but we're going to clean those up in a moment. First, we have to take this geometry and extrude it further down, and we have to take this vertex and slide it to the end like so. And this is a good time to disable your auto merge vertices tool, because otherwise you're accidentally gonna fuck something up. And now finally, we take the edges around the outside. We're gonna extrude them downwards a little bit. I don't really want to talk too much about the backside, because the backside of the shape is a whole different story, but I don't really want to get into it right now. we can just try filling this with a couple of quads and see if we can make them not too twisted. As you can see, they are pretty damn twisted, but I think we should be able to clean it up pretty easily if we take this edge back here and we just lower it down a little bit like this. Well, we can also just take all these edges over here and scale them to 0 on the z-axis, then we don't really get any twisting. But now we get to the next and final phase where we're gonna have to apply some subdivision surface, which means we have to clean up our geometry, because as you can see, we got some n-gons. We don't have the right supporting geometry. Our topology is all fucked up, so the tools don't really work too well. So we're gonna have to do something about that. Let's start by getting rid of this n-gon over here. So we need a loop cut right here, which we're gonna join with this vertex. That turns this from a terrible n-gon into a concave quad, which is a little bit better. But still, we have to turn this into clean quads. So what we can try doing is adding a loop cut over here, and then sliding these vertices all the way to the end like this. As you can see, now we just have a quad here and some triangles, which is a much better situation because that allows us to add a new loop cut here and turn this into a quad as well. Same thing on the outside like this, but I don't want to do this just yet. I'll do this later. First, I want to add a couple more loop cuts all over the place just so I can have tighter geometry to make these angles here a little bit tighter under the influence of a subdivision surface modifier. Same thing over here at the base. Give me 3 loop cuts here and over here. And now, of course, I need a couple loop cuts over this way. But the problem is that when we add loop cuts here, they're not going to cross over this triangle, and they just turn that triangle into a horrific n-gon, which means we manually have to fix those. We have to add the same number of loop cuts over here on the other side, and hopefully joining those with J is going to work. So we select vertices on both sides, we press J, and as you can see, that gives us a pretty clean connection of the two sides. We might have to move something out of the way like this, and then let's see about that subdivision surface modifier. So as you can see, we're getting there. Let's do another loop cut over here to tighten up this corner a little bit better. We're going to use our loop tools to redistribute some of this geometry if it's going to be possible. The edges here are probably supposed to be a little bit shorter, so the loop tool space tool might not work too well, but it seems to clean it up pretty nicely, so I'm gonna go with it. Then I'm going to take these faces over here from the top. I'm gonna select all of them, and once I select them all, I'll press I for inset, and that's just going to create a little bit of supporting geometry. As long as I check edge rail over here, it's gonna clean my mesh up a little bit, so now I have a bit of supporting geometry on this edge here. After that, I can very easily add a loop cut to the bottom like this, and to get rid of these little triangles here, I'll take this entire edge segment from the top, deselect the last 2 vertices here, Control B to bevel this. I want 2 segments and a profile shape value 1. And if we zoom in on this little corner, now we made a pretty big mess. But if we slide this to the end and we take these 2 vertices and we slide them up, that turns everything into nice little quads right here. All we gotta do now is take these edges from the end like this. We're gonna slide them a little bit closer to the edge to tighten up the outside. Just make sure you don't push this too far, because otherwise, once again, you're gonna get a concave polygon back here. And finally, you might want to tighten up this corner by adding a loop cut here and over here. And I wish I could tell you could take these edges here and slide them to the corner, then take these edges from the inside right here and slide them up, and that will get rid of some of the geometry and you're gonna have a better corner right here. But the problem is that we have to do something about the rest of this loop when it goes down here, and as you can see, it forms a corner here, so we can't get rid of it. So we're just gonna keep things the way they are right here. And notice how I made a mistake over here with my inset tool, so I'm gonna have to get rid of this face segment, place the cursor right here, take these vertices and bring them all the way to the outside by scaling them to 0 on the x-axis. And now if we want to, we can also take these corners and bevel them a little bit with Control B if we want to make them sharper. We can also bring this edge segment a little bit closer, but if we want to make it consistent, and right now it isn't because these vertices are closer to the side here than these are, which could make this bevel here a little bit tighter on the inside than it is on the outside, then we could just get rid of this entire edge segment, select all the faces on this part of the object like this, and just press I to inset, and as long as you have edge rail enabled, you're gonna have a perfectly even segment over here, which is going to act as supporting geometry for this corner. Sunshine and rainbows, that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you learned something from this video. Of course, this can always be better. We can always try redistributing some of this geometry to make it a little bit more consistent, but that is going to be pretty unnecessary at this point. As you can see, if we add a loop cut over here, it gets rid of some of these long faces here, but it doesn't really make any difference. That's how you make this shape, which looks a lot easier than it really is. If you want to ask me a question, you can join our Discord server, or you can send me an email to the address in the description. I also help out my patrons with their personal situations a lot, so if you really need some help, you can reach me out there. And if you want to learn a bunch of other Blender tips, make sure to check out my Blender masterclass down in the description. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.